Hello, hello. It's about 8:15 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Our storm is going to be arriving a little bit later today, and here's your daily storm update on the video here. A lot is still the same. I haven't really changed much of the forecast. I've done a little tweaking here and there, but for the most part, what we saw maybe 5-6 days ago still holds. An impactful, heavy, wet snowfall expected, with some gusty wind, especially for the coastline. And spring snow is it's tough because of the destruction it can cause, because it usually contains a lot of water and it's heavy and wet and leads to a lot of power outages and cracked limbs like we had last week. But also it kind of, people want to jump into spring mode and want to jump into those warmer season activities, and this kind of puts a damper on things. I mean, we're seeing crocuses out there, tulips are poking up, all the spring birds are back. But I guess it wouldn't be spring if we didn't have a snow threat. I'd say, the majority of the years that I've been working here in Maine, which is, almost 20 years or so, there's always some sort of spring snow threat, whether it's a couple of inches or several, like we're about to get, over 6 in a lot of spots. The Weather Service, by the way, did upgrade our winter storm watches to winter storm warnings now, for the entire area in pink or magenta, whatever color you think that is. And it now includes southern York County too. The exception in the state is far northeastern Maine, up in the county, where we won't quite get to 6 inches, but everywhere else, really high chance for 6 inches. And a lot of the interior has a high chance to get double-digit snowfall, like 10 to 20 inches of snow. So winter storm warnings from this afternoon and evening, about 5 o'clock or so, through early Friday morning. That's when most of the accumulation occurs. Let's jump to the timeline here, and right now we're just seeing clouds increase and thicken up out there. There may be some sprinkles at some point through the day, but the bulk of the precip doesn't start to move in until 3 to 5 o'clock this evening for southern and western areas. And it'll probably be some wet flakes and some cold drops, regardless of which precipitation type it is, it's rain or snow. I don't think it's impactful on the roads yet until the sun sets. And once the sun sets, we don't have any of the energy from the sun. Even though you're not going to see it through this entire storm, we still get rays through the clouds that help melt snow when it hits some sort of black surface, like pavement or tar, whatever, parking lots and driveways and things like that. It'll definitely accumulate better on non-paved surfaces, if that makes sense. Once we get into the dark hours and during the overnight, this thing really starts to crank. And as it gets stronger, it's going to manufacture its own cold. As it does that, we're going to see temperatures drop just a couple of degrees, and that's going to be pretty critical. And by the middle of the night, this is like 2, 3 in the morning, we're 31, 32, 32, 31, 30 inland. And that's when we're really going to start to get efficient with our snow accumulation, and snowfall rates will probably be 1 inch to 2 an hour. Along the coastline, I don't know that we'll ever get below 32 with this storm. So we're not going to have high ratios, snow to liquid ratios. Typical storms in the wintertime, they're around 10 or 12 to 1. In this case, it may be somewhere between 5 and 10 to 1. So we're not going to be efficiently accumulating along the coast. With that said, it's still going to be terrible visibility, because these flakes are going to be huge and they're going to be splatting on everything. And it's still going to accumulate, and plows are still going to have to go out. So that's about 3 in the morning. As we get to daybreak tomorrow, 8, 9 o'clock, look at this, 29 inland, 33, 34, 32, 33. Again, barely, above freezing, but above freezing, and that's going to make a difference. And then we're going to get into some daylight tomorrow, and while it's not super warm, and yes, it's still snowing through the day, it's not going to be efficiently accumulating on the roads and on blacktop and that kind of thing. It'll be accumulating a lot better on snow and and sticking to limbs and trees and that sort. So that's all day tomorrow, and there may be a little bit of mixing right along the coastline with some sleet and some rain. It's going to be razor thin. It's probably going to be a coastal front that sets up, that north wind trying to keep that cold air locked in, and in some places it will not succeed. And then what happens here, this storm is just going to slowly peter out right over us. So that keeps it unsettled, yes. Periods of mostly light rain or light snow, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday. But with the weakening storm and not able to manufacture its own cold, it's not going to accumulate really at all unless you're in the hills or in the mountains. So that's why I say the bulk of the accumulation ends tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. So it's tonight and all day Thursday, and then that's pretty much it for accumulation. Now, there is going to be quite a bit. Along the immediate coast, 4 to 8 inches, sloppy mess. Just inland, 8 to 12 inches. I'd say Portland, you're closer to the 8. Lewiston, you're about a foot. Same with Augusta. Bangor, you're closer to 8 to 10. But north and west there, you know, up through the hills and the mountains and the higher elevations, we're talking a foot plus, and in some places, it'll end up around 20 inches of snow. This is going to be really difficult to clean up, whether you're shoveling, snow blowing, or plowing, especially in this heavy wet zone in here. You know, I've got a snow blower, and whenever we get these heavy wet storms and I'm going through it, it's just like this stream of cement that you'd see out of like a cement mixer coming out the chute, you know, and it doesn't go out into the yard where I need it. It just like goes a couple of feet over on the side of my driveway on the edge of it. So it's just going to be a pain getting rid of this stuff. And because of that, we will likely deal with power outages. I'm hoping that it's not going to be like last week's, you know, severe outage event, but the ingredients for something like that are there. Heavy wet snow for a long time and winds that could gust over 50 miles per hour. Those are ingredients for a widespread power outage event. Again, I hope it doesn't happen, but it could. So prep as if, you know, you're going to be out of power for a while. You know, have a couple of canisters of fuel, and you know, have the generator strategically placed already, just in case it happens at night and you don't have to go wheel it out around the house and get it all hooked up and everything. I guess that's about it. You know, a lot is unchanged at this point. We're inching closer. We'll give you another update throughout the storm and keep checking our blog and that kind of thing. But I don't think things are going to change that much from where they are right now. We're still looking at plowable snow across the entire state. The least amount will be along the coast, but it's still at least 6 inches, and the most will be up in the mountains where it's going to be close to 20 inches. And then on the backside, we'll warm things up. It'll melt away by the middle of next week, and we can resume, hopefully, a nice spring. See you later, folks.